All right, not Ben at 10, but it's Ben in the afternoon here on a Sunday, January 25th, as we're kind of wrapping up, winding down this winter storm across the region. Some of you got just as much snow as you wanted. Some of you did not get as much snow as you wanted, which is typically the case around here. So we did have a little warm nose of air that got all the way up to counties around the Ohio River, and that gave us some sleet, which tore into some of the snowfall totals. However, if you're just, I don't know, north of Borden, Indiana, north of Sellersburg, seeing reports of around a foot or more of snowfall up around Scott County, Seymour, Mitchell. I saw up to like 14 inches. My daughter in Bloomington's got a ton of snow up there. I saw, if we've got somebody watching from Lanesville, I saw a report of around a foot. Utica, a big amount. And there's been some drifting too, because sometimes we have winds around 10 to 20 miles per hour. So some parts of your yard, you might have more or less. In our yard so far here in Borden, Indiana, we've got around 6 or 7 inches of snowfall. And maybe a little bit more that we'll tack onto that as we still have some snow out to the west. So let's take a look here at the radar and satellite. Very large winter storm system. It's kind of half rain, as you can see, and then half snowfall. Let me hit the stop button on this. And we'll also take a look at some of the snowfall reports that we've been getting in as well across the region. So there you can still see some snow out to the west. What's interesting, we've got reports of Evansville picking up around 10 to 11 inches. A lot of times we'll get what they get, but some areas, obviously, around the Ohio River and south getting a lot less. The interesting thing, it's kind of simple math, basically. When we look at the snowfall ratios, when you mix in sleet, it's a 1 to 2 ratio. So 1 inch of liquid can make 2 inches of around 2 inches of sleet. And we picked up about an inch if you melted it down. And a meteorologist in Louisville did melt down the like 4 inches of snow sleet mix in Metro Louisville, and that melted down to about an inch of liquid. So you've got that much to work with. If that stayed all dry, fluffy snow, which most meteorologists were expecting around Louisville, that would have been 12 inches of snow. When you get sleet, which it can hold a lot more water content, that obviously chops those numbers at least in half. And I even heard sleet up here in Borden. I didn't think there was a chance we would get sleet all the way up here in Clark County, but it did happen, as the NAM weather model was really the only one that nailed that. All the other weather models kept the snow to sleet line south. We were thinking that snow sleet line, we talked about this yesterday, would end up somewhere between the parkways in Kentucky and the Ohio River, somewhere in that zone, maybe like Bullitt County, but it actually lifted farther to the north, which cut down on some of the snowfall totals. Either way, impacts are very similar, whether you got a foot of snow or you got the sleet mixing in. The roads are snow and ice covered all across the area. I-65 still very much snow covered around the region. So let's pop on some of the snowfall totals, and feel free to let me know what you have in your backyard as well. We got some pictures we'll show here in just a second. So thanks for commenting, letting us know where you're watching from. If this is the first time you're tuning in, I do a show every morning, Monday through Friday, Ben at 10, right here on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine. Extol Weather, that's EXTOL Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube. Thanks for liking or subscribing or sharing. And you can also go to extolmag.com/weather, and we are there live as well. So let's bring up the local storm reports. And zooming in here, again, Evansville, I got a report here of 10.5 inches of snow. And then there's not many around here. There higher amounts up to the north, 11 inches up around Shelbyville, Indiana. Got a report of like over a foot up towards Dayton. There's 10 inches up there. So we'll continue to get in some more reports. 8 inches out towards St. Louis, southern Illinois, about 8 inches. So we still have just a little bit of snow out to the west that will be sliding through this afternoon. So we'll likely taper this off to some flurries as we head into the evening time. So maybe some additional light accumulations of around maybe an inch through later on today and tonight. So not a whole lot more is expected. Now, let me get rid of this map here, and we'll bring up this. So you still have the travel warnings in Indiana. Look at all of southern Indiana in the red. So travel warning is the highest level of a local travel advisory, and it means that travel may be restricted to emergency management workers only. During a warning, local travel advisory individuals are directed to refrain from all travel, comply with necessary emergency measures, cooperate with public officials, and so there you go. We've still got the travel warnings. I think my kids or my son, his friends are going to be out of school for a couple of days. It looks like maybe I think they get one day off and then they got to do the virtual learning for a day or something like that. And the story after today is the extreme cold. We got a cold weather advisory tonight, midnight until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then, no, I'm sorry, midnight tonight until 7 p.m. tomorrow is the cold weather advisory. Wind chills as low as -10. And then we have an extreme cold warning, which is pretty rare for our area, from 7 p.m. tomorrow until 11 a.m. Tuesday, with wind chills possibly around -10 to -20. So the next story here, as the snow fades away, is the long-lasting extreme cold pattern that we have to deal with. I posted this a little bit earlier today. There's my 99-year-old grandma who is a little stubborn. You can't stop her from getting out there. She loves the snow and doing a little shoveling out there. But there's my grandma. And there's a report of 11 inches or so, probably up to maybe a foot by the time this is over with. This is just north of Salem, Indiana. Thank you, Adam Dufour, for sharing that one on my page. And then this one shows the snow all the way up to the seats here on this picnic table. Crystal Miller from Mitchell, Indiana. I saw some reports of around 14 inches of snow that way. And here's the snow reports that were tallied a little bit earlier today. Some of these are a little bit higher now, but the foot snow amounts, again, mostly just north of Clark County, Indiana, I would say. Kind of a big swath over southern Indiana. Got the bullseye of the snowfall. And then I'm seeing 4 or 5 inch amounts of snow sleet mix around I-64 corridor in Kentucky, and then lighter southeast where there's some freezing rain mixing in. I'm curious about the freezing rain. There might be a little corridor of, I've seen some 1/4 inch amounts of freezing rain reported. So that might be a little bit of an issue over parts of Kentucky as well. Megan Tompkins. That's right. 6'7". All right. Hi, Ben. Waiting from Borden, Indiana. Daisy Hill had 6 inches at 10 a.m. Maryland, you can't miss me. I'm right here. So Linda asking, is it over? Some light additional snowfall, maybe an inch through later on tonight or so. Tim Furnish, it says nap time. It's almost football time, too. We got, what is it, Patriots and the Broncos at 3, I think, and then 6 is the Seahawks and the Rams. I really don't have a team in it, but I used to be a Rams fan, so maybe I'll go back to the day when they were the greatest show on turf back around 99, Kurt Warner days. Kyle is saying, when do you think it would be best to shovel? Are we expected to get a lot? I mean, you can start to shovel now. We'll have probably, again, just an additional light amount on top of all that we have already. In New Albany, we got 5 inches here from Jackie Gordon. Thanks for that report right there. And Linda saying, wake me up when it's springtime. I think it's like 56 days away. And Lori asking, we're expecting the roads to be bad pretty much all this week. Where it's not treated or plowed, the roads will be snow covered all week. There's just nothing that can melt it. Main routes, they will be improved, of course, with all the and we're going to take a look at all the snow plows out there. They all have cameras in Indiana, so we'll take a look at some of that here in just a second as well. Barb Rainbolt from Greenville, Indiana. Not totally over, but it's starting to wind down. We just have some light snow left over. Mark off of Charlestown Road and 5 to 7 inches. It's about what we got here. Sherry, thanks for popping into the comments here this morning. Beverly saying they've got synchronous learning Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, so the kids are happy with at-home school, I guess. Jackie says she's awesome, worn out. Clarksville, 6 or 7 inches. Mary Dale, around 7 inches in New Albany. Not too bad there, especially with some sleet mixing in. Official SDF measurement. I'm not sure what the official is yet. I didn't see the total. I was in the National Weather Service chat earlier. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be up around 4 or 5 inches, maybe 6. Chappelle, let's go Denver. Let's go Broncos. Shane Young saying good snow to ride in. Yeah, kind of a dry snow where you can get a little bit of traction, but be careful if you got to be out there. Amber, shoveled and salted. I'm worn out. I've got to do that here in a little bit. I'm actually looking forward to getting out there, even though it's really cold. Lori asking, are the roads going to be bad all week because of the cold temperatures? Yes, where they're not treated or plowed. And 65 south through Tennessee. Yeah, the road should be clear that direction. Nathan asking, do you think the snow potential Wednesday will hinder schools back midweek? So Tuesday looked like maybe a little bit of a batch of some light snow. We're going to get these little clipper systems in this cold air. Maybe one Tuesday, maybe one Wednesday night. They're kind of hard to time out, but if we do get these little clipper systems, they can put down very light accumulation. As we've seen, even very light accumulation, even if it's just like an inch or less, can cause slick conditions and also school delays or closings. Beth says, go Hawks. And we got Jason Voiles in the house here. I can see Highway 60 from my house. Looks pretty good. Seeing a few vehicles go by. Thanks for that report right there. Speaking of which, let me bring up, look at the current conditions out here. Let me get rid of this and add this up. Again, this is Indiana 511.org. So we're looking at some of the plows here. This is at 2 o'clock. So this is what, I-65 is 60. So you can see that it's still snow covered right there. Let me go down here to this plow. Or did I just have that one? Up here to, here's I-65. I think this is near Henryville. There you can see snow covered roads. This is I-65 at Underwood, completely snow covered. And then here, let me pull up. We'll go into Kentucky here in just a second as well. We've got a plow up here, and we got several plows around Salem. There you can see on Indiana 160, totally covered. Hard to keep up with the snow still coming down and the frigid temperatures. That salt is not working at all, by the way, and the treated roads, it's just it's going to be too cold for that salt to work. There you can see Indiana 135. So that's around Salem, Indiana. As we go to Corydon, checking out the roads here, snow covered as well. So again, the impacts, whether you got a foot of fluffy dry snow or you got 5 inches of snow and sleet, pretty much the same impact across the region. I never knew how many snow plows there were. I mean, look at how many plows are all over the place. Here's Scottsburg. Scottsburg looks just the same, totally snow covered. And then I'm going to bring up the trimark.org cameras here as we head into Kentucky. And here's a look at I-65 by the airport at Fern Valley Road. Just got to go slow, all covered there with snow. And then here's Bardstown Road and the slider, as they call it. It also looks pretty snow covered there. Not many people out on the roads, which is good. Going southbound to Shepherdsville, I-65 is completely covered in snow there. The roads are completely white. Looks like some decent snow coming down there as well. As we do still have some bands of snow that are going to be moving through. It looks like a pretty healthy band of snow out towards Evansville right here. And it looks like to me, if I were going to do my best estimate, is that right around this line right there and north is like our 10 to 15 inch snowfall that we've seen reports so far. So basically just north of Henryville, I would say, is kind of the 10 to 15 inch, and then out west. And then for counties along the Ohio River in Indiana and south, including Metro Louisville, I'm seeing reports of like 4 to 6 inches of a mix of that sleet and ice. Still just kind of a fine snow that I see out here out of my weather window 5,000, and the birds are busy eating all the seed. They need those calories to stay alive. That's kind of the summary I think we've seen so far. So the bullseye of heaviest snow ending up in southern Indiana, and then sleet tearing into those snowfall totals in Kentucky. And I haven't seen many reports of how much icing we've seen. So if you're down here south of Lexington, I'm curious if you know somebody or you live down that way, how much icing that you've seen there so far. So hopefully that doesn't get too bad. Ice is the worst for sure. Looks like maybe a new snow report here. Oh, that's 8 inches. There's some more out here in Evansville. Oops. Let me get rid of my drawing there. Evansville's got some good folks out there. They got 10.5 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches. So around 8 to 11 inches in Evansville. There's a little healthy batch of some snow moving through there. So we'll continue to have some light snow off and on until that very last batch that's around St. Louis moves through a little bit later on this evening. So the winter storm not completely over with. Roads are definitely snow covered and pretty hazardous out there as well. All right, let me get rid of that. Look at a few more comments here. We'll get to your forecast as well. All right, so we did that. We showed the travel warning still all across the area. We did not take a look outside yet, so we can do that. Well, I mean, we kind of did with the snowplow cams and the Trimark images. Oh, look at that. Pretty view here along the Ohio River with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. I just got a text from my buddy Chase Best out in the Corden area with his bourbon measurement of snow. Looks like maybe 7 inches or so there. Thank you, Chase, for doing that. He's the golf superintendent over at South Park Country Club. So there you go. We've got a snowy winter wonderland scene around the area, and here's a look. Oh, there's my grandma popping up on our live feed right there. They're shoveling. Okay, let's see what we got. Temperature wise, 16. So there's not much warm up out here today. We might touch 20, maybe 13. Wind and a wind chill at 4. I got the new 7-day forecast up here, which is frigid. Highs mostly in the teens, lows in the single digits or negative numbers for the next 7 days. And eventually, I'm going to have to see if we're top 10 longest stretch below freezing, because I think we went below freezing Friday, and now we're going to be below freezing all the way through next weekend. So crazy frigidness around the area. Cold weather advisory tonight through tomorrow with wind chills sub-zero around 0 to -10, and then extreme cold warning tomorrow 7 p.m. until Tuesday morning. And that's because we could have wind chills around 10 to 20 below 0. Crazy cold, crazy cold. This is a look at the interactive maps as well, as if you ever want to play along with these maps right here. There's dozens of weather layers that you can plop on. Temperatures here in the teens. The warmest around freezing around Richmond, Kentucky, and down towards Liberty, Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky around freezing. There's this thin zone where there might be some icing as well around the Bluegrass Parkway and south. All right, let's get a forecast here for you guys. Maybe 20, but a lot of the day is just going to be in the teens. It'll feel colder than that. Snow will taper off this evening. After we might pick up an additional inch of snow for the rest of today. 4 degrees, our low for tonight. Sub-zero wind chills, north wind at 10 to 15. Again, cold weather advisory all day tomorrow with a 10 at noon, 13 for that afternoon high. And so that is about 30 degrees below normal for this time of the year. All right, here's that 7-day forecast. Again, 13 tomorrow, 1 below Monday night, Tuesday 24, 2 below Tuesday night. Some of the data showing maybe a little bit of batch of light snow moving through Tuesday afternoon, evening, and then maybe a shot Wednesday night. There's just kind of little disturbances in the northwest flow, kind of little clippers that will give us a chance of some light snow and some flurries occasionally. Not much accumulation out of those. And then maybe next weekend, Sunday right now is kind of a time frame where we might see some more light snow with this, but a mostly dry weather pattern. But we're going to see still some flakes flying every now and again over the next 7 days. And I also want to remind you. Oh yeah, I showed this a little earlier, but here's kind of one of the bigger snowfall totals. This is earlier today too, at 11 inches, probably around a foot. Many areas around Salem, Indiana. Or if you take counties kind of surrounding Washington County or Scott County, Indiana, upwards near a foot of snow. Mitchell, Indiana, I saw some reports of around 14 inches. So that's where the bullseye was. Hey, if you got any weather questions, you can always email me, ben@extolmag.com. Or if you want to learn about advertising marketing solutions, we can talk about that as well, as we've been reaching millions of views here over the last 28 days. We see those views there on the good old Facebook. Okay, let's bring this one back up. And here we go. Okay, so let's look at the current conditions out there. Looking at some of the comments popping in. Probably won't go quite as long here today as we did yesterday, because most of the snow, what we're going to get, is on the ground now. So, okay, let me see. Going back to the comments. Sherry Hinkle, you're very welcome. Thanks for tuning in here this morning. I'm going to take a sip of water. Let me see here. Leo with 6 or 7 inches, depending on where measured there in Clarksville. Neighbor just measured 7 inches in New Albany. Hey, we picked up some more there. Let me see here. Where did I end up? Oh, yeah. I think Jason was last comment. You're very welcome, Lillian. Happy to be on here. Thanks for tuning in. When will you say the roads will be cleared? I think main routes will get better later on tonight. But some of the outer roads, county roads, neighborhood roads, side roads may not be cleared all week. Too cold for salt to really work all week, and if the plows don't go over them, then there's no hope for it to be cleared. And Lynn Fry got snow and sleet there in Hardin County. Thank you very much for that report there. Beth says perfect sleigh riding snow. That'd be fun. Beverly Haggis says mom lives in Lanesville, said 7 or 8 inches there. Got a thin layer of some sleet on the snow there in Hardin County. Beth putting out blueberries, now frozen, and the birds are happy. I didn't know they liked blueberries. I've seen a lot of foxes lately. I've been hearing them call. I didn't know what they sounded like until I saw one, and it's mating season for the foxes out there. And they sound like little yappy dogs. 19 degrees for Lillian Lasley in Litchfield. How much snow did you get, Lillian? Curious about that down in Grayson County. Orlean in Hodgenville, we have ice. We have snow. It's too cold. I'm not going back out there. It doesn't look too terribly deep. When do we think it will start melting? February 7th? Maybe we'll break out of this Arctic chill, this Arctic blast. You're very welcome, Beth. Thanks for tuning in here this morning. Angela, you're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Look at that. We got a foot in French Lick watching there from YouTube. Thanks for watching. Marcelin. Brenda saying, all weather people, bad job. You know, it just depends on where you live. The forecast was right on for much of southern Indiana. Counties on the Ohio River and south had sleet mix in. That was a concern of how far north the sleet would mix in. And it actually, we got to take a nod to the NAM weather model, which showed that happening, but all the other weather models kept the heavier snow a little bit farther south. We were saying that sleet would probably mix in maybe around Bullitt County to Elizabethtown, where the snow totals would drop off greatly. But some of that sleet mixed in all the way into some counties in Indiana along the Ohio River. So that did cut down some of those totals. I talked about this right when we started. For 1 inch of liquid, which is how much that we got to use with this winter storm, So if you melted down the, say, the 4 to 6 inches that we saw around Metro Louisville, it equaled about 1 inch of liquid. You can take that, and it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So with 1 inch of liquid, you get about 2 inches of sleet mixture, kind of a sleet snow mixture. And then it's normally around a 12-to-1 ratio with about an inch of liquid for snow. But with how cold it was, that could have fluffed up to even more, like we see in much of southern Indiana, with many areas getting a foot of snow. So instead of Louisville and areas around I-64, where we thought we would pick up around a foot of snow, a dry, fluffy snow, that sleet can hold a lot more water content, and it chops the snowfall totals way down. So that's why Brenda says, all weather people, bad job. There you go. We've got Tia says, we got 5 inches in Lanesville and the Georgetown line. Thank you very much. Won't be cleared until June. Let's hope we get it done before that. Orlean, you're very welcome. Thank you very much. Mary Dale, thank you so much for tuning in here. Megan saying, I would rather over predict than under predict. Yeah, I mean, the impacts are the same. That's what we talked about too, whether you got, I don't know, what I say this 2 days ago, whether you get 6 inches or you get 16 inches, which is kind of the range around the area that we live stream to. Impacts are the same. Snow-covered roads everywhere, snow or sleet-covered roads everywhere. It's all slick. So there really isn't a big difference whether you had a foot of dry, fluffy snow or you had 5 inches of sleet, which is heavier. In fact, 5 inches of sleet mixing in with the snow can be heavier to shovel than the foot of light, fluffy snow. So visually, maybe you didn't get to see that foot visually. But again, the impacts are pretty similar with this winter storm, no matter how much you ended up getting. Lynn saying 3.5 inches of snow and a 1/4 inch of ice there in Hardin County. Thank you for that report. I was curious about how much ice we were seeing down that way. Okay, we got Meredith Lucas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, yeah, yesterday I gave Tim's Weather World a shout out. He's got some good posts that he does. So, yeah, I want to give a shout out to all my meteorologist friends. I text still with folks in the TV business and stuff like that, and other people. George, who does a great job with Weather Now Kentucky. I text with him just about every day. And so shout out to my meteorologist friends that are going to be taking it on the chin a little bit today because we did not get that foot of fluffy snow in many locations along and south of the Ohio River. But again, if you're north of Clark County, Indiana, or out west, Du Bois County, Jasper, Paoli, French Lick, Mitchell, Bedford, Seymour, Brownstown, Scottsburg, I think as well, Salem, we're seeing those foot amounts all in those areas. So that's kind of where the bullseye ended up. Yes, John, we know that. Megan is your oldest daughter. I'm glad to see the family in the show here. And Amy Moore, I was sweating, cleaning off my car and driveway. That's good. I need to get out there and get a sweat going as well in these lovely Arctic conditions out here today. All right. Maybe we'll do a couple more looks outside if you want to do that, and we'll do a recap of the forecast, and then we'll wrap this show right up. So we got Karen Razor. I'm certainly not complaining about getting snow by the foot. It is funny too, yeah. When it's kind of people get mad they didn't get worse conditions. It's kind of a weird thing, even though it is bad all across the area. But it's kind of funny on social media. It's the gotcha mentality. You said it would do this much and we didn't get this much or whatever. And I don't really care about that. So I'm not going to waste very much of my life on those comments. All right, here we go. We'll go back. Last time we started in Indiana, we'll start in Kentucky here. About time to get out there and do some sledding as well. So the roads, I think, are best the farther south you go, where, of course, there was much less snow. This is a look at I-65 as you head towards Munfordville. That camera view right there. Oops. Let me bring that up full screen. Oops. It timed out. Let's try this camera. Maybe the cameras are freezing up. Oh, here's a good one. There's like an icicle on it. That is weird. They're timing out like that. Maybe I'll hit the refresh on it. Let me hear. Let's try this again. Let me hit the try marks being weird. We'll go to Indiana. Sorry, try marks being weird. Okay, we're going to Charlestown, Indiana with the snowplow. And we got Indiana 62 completely covered in snow, sleet, mixture. This is here in Sellersburg with the plow. Here at US 31, Highway 31 is completely snow covered there. I mean, it's looking pretty much the same wherever we look. Let's go to Palmyra up Highway 150. Oh, the camera's up in the clouds there. Let's try this one. The camera on that one got turned up. Let's go to the plow here just east of Salem, Indiana. Completely snow covered up that direction. Now we're heading up to like the Valonia, Medora area. North of Salem as you head towards Jackson County. Man, look at the whiteout conditions up there. That is some heavy snow up toward Mitchell, Indiana as well. Bedford getting a ton of snow. There you can see the snow covering up everything there. And here's Mitchell, where I saw reports of like 14 inches. So there you can see a ton of snow right there. Okay, let's see if Trimark's behaving here. Looks like the boys are about to go out sledding. There we go. Looks like the refresh helped. There's I-65 at Shepherdsville. Not a whole lot of traffic out there, which is good. It's still snow covered on I-65. I did want to look south here toward, see if the camera will load up. Their cameras are being really weird here. Anyway, there we go. Still have the travel warning all in red here on the right side for southern Indiana. It is a winter wonderland across the area. There's a live look here with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. Looks like some folks there taking a walk on the fossil beds. Pretty cool out there, getting outside, enjoying the novelty of a winter storm. And again, we'll load up the forecast here one last time. Shout out to my grandma, 99 years old, years young, I should say. There's my grandma, Norma, putting in some work on the driveway there. I'll try to get over there and help them out. There's around 11, 12 inches up just north of Salem, Indiana. Thank you, Adam Dufour, for that ruler there. This is Mitchell, Indiana, with the snow almost all the way up to the seats of that picnic table. This is a little earlier, so we're tacking on a little bit more than this. I'm seeing around 4 to 6 inches over Metro Louisville, east to Lexington, and then around 6, 7 inch amounts for counties on the Ohio River in Indiana, and then the foot amounts up to just around Salem and maybe north of Clark County, Indiana is kind of where we're seeing the biggest snowfall totals. So maybe we make it to 20. We've been in the teens, though, pretty much all day. That snow is almost horizontal out there right now. It is blowing pretty good. So the wind chills are rough that I'm looking at right now. So we still have some fairly steady snow coming down, an additional inch maybe for the rest of today. Low tonight, 4 degrees. Cold weather advisory, midnight tonight until 7 p.m. tomorrow. Then extreme cold warning tomorrow night into Tuesday morning with our sub-zero wind chills tonight. Wind chills around 0 to minus 10 tonight, and then the wind chills around 10 to 20 below into Tuesday morning. So looks like maybe a couple days without school or at least the NTI or virtual learning or whatever they call it these days. So tomorrow, west wind around 10 to 15, maybe a gust of 20, 13, your high tomorrow after starting off at about 4. Low temperatures here are in the single digits this week with highs in the teens. might be a top 10 cold stretch. I'm going to have to do some digging on that this week and see about that. Real quick, I'm going to get a couple things loaded up here, and then we will wrap this up and we'll go watch some football in just a second. And maybe go play outside a little bit and do some work outside and all that fun stuff. Here we go. Oops. Just bringing up a couple pages here. Before we wrap it up, I want to thank our partners here that allow us to do what we do. It's usually been at 10 a.m. every morning. We do a live stream weather for our region. If you ever want to tune in, I want to thank our new partners here at Clog Busters with a Z Plumbing Services. They got you covered in Kentucky and maybe even Southern Indiana. You can give them a call if you have any plumbing issues. They do a lot of services, by the way. 859-495-3552. Clog Busters with a Z that you can see there. It's clogbustersplumbing.com. I want to thank my buddy. I was chatting with him. He gave me a snow report today there near Salem, Indiana. I think Michael had about 10 or 11 inches with the snowfall there. So he's keeping that wood stove going, keeping his family warm there. And he can give you a quote on your insurance if you want to check it out. You can give him a call, 812-578-3072. American Family Insurance, amfam.com. Search Michael Long, and you'll find his page right there. I want to thank our partners here at Lions Roofing, lionsroofingco.com, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. If you want to get your roof checked out, get a quote, 812-294-3595. They got you covered on both sides of the river throughout Metro Louisville. Also, we're live Friday on the Ivy Tech campus. But if you want to level up your career, or you want to, have your children check out the campus, get the dual credit, get the free college credits in high school if you can, and you can learn all about Ivy Tech here at ivytech.edu. Go to campuses, go to Sellersburg, and they are expanding. They're building a Baptist Health facility there that's going to help their students in the nursing program and other programs, and they're also building a family scholar house, too, for single mothers to make education accessible. So, again, thanks to all of our partners. And if you want to get your weather any time of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we've got our live stream up here at extolmag.com/weather. That's EXTOL that you can see right there, MAG.com. Thanks for liking or subscribing to our show on YouTube. We're following our pages here on whether you're watching on Facebook, perhaps. Thanks for tuning in. We're at 16 degrees now, our current temperature, with a wind chill at 4. There's the new 7-day that we just showed you. There are interactive maps that you can kind of have some fun with. Let me zoom out here. It's got radar. It's got future radar. It's got your future cast. We've got some snowed in boys here that are about to go out and play. So thankfully our Starlink is, man, that wind is whipping up out there. It's like horizontal light snow at the moment. So that shows, let me see this precip type. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this, and this, and there we go. We still got some snow to get through. This is the radar. It's got different functions on it. It's got different weather variables that you can mess around with as well. Again, this is at extolmag.com/weather. I'll just hit the play button. So we got another little healthy batch of some snow that's kind of enhanced near Evansville up through near French Lick. That's going to be cruising our direction. So still got a little more snow to go. Our winter storm not completely over with. There's our little loop right there. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Orlean, thank you very much. Looking at some of our last comments here that I'm popping in. Hey, Gary and Janet Hutchins, thank you very much. You're the best. Thanks for tuning in here. It was a tough one. The winter storms are always tough. They're definitely not as easy as just a line of storms moving through. Winter weather in our region, especially around the Ohio Valley, has a lot of different variables. 1 degree temperature difference can switch you from snow to sleet, which we had that happen over much of the area last night. Charlestown Road, I'm sure, is snow-covered, Lori. Charlie giving some advice here, Mattingly. It's possible, but it's definitely bad as far as the road. It depends on how good you are at driving and if you get the four-wheel drive. And Jeanette Pierce, thank you so much for tuning in here. Amy saying the roads are all snow covered, a few plow trucks up and down, not many drivers out. Pretty good amount there in Paoli. I've seen around we got 9 inches here from Barbara Stevens. Seen some reports even a little bit higher than that, and we got 4 inches there in Grayson County near Litchfield. Thanks for that report as well. All right, we're making it through Winter Storm 2026 here on this January 25th. We'll be back to the regular show. We're talking about extreme cold for the rest of this week on tomorrow morning show. There won't be a Wednesday Ben at 10. But other than that, we'll see you Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. on my show. All right, you guys have a good one. Enjoy the rest of this winter storm. Enjoy being snowed in, and be safe out there. Stay warm. We'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in.